Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of In the Studio. Today we're going to be taking apart a couple of rhythms here on the World Hybrid Kit, talking about some orchestration, some different ideas that you can develop some of these rhythms a little bit further with your own drumming. If you're new to the channel, please reach down and hit that subscribe button right now. Like and share the video. It's the best thing that you can do to help me out as I try to grow this channel, share more knowledge of drums and percussion with as many people as I possibly can. If you have a topic or a question, an idea that you would like to have me discuss in a future video, put it down in the comments section. I do check them often, and I'm always looking for new ideas, new inspiration to make videos for the future, and I'd love to include your idea in that. So without further ado, let's jump into the World Hybrid Kit. So in our last video, I was talking a little bit about why I built the kit the way that I did. These instruments pitched down in this angle, moving away from my body, thusly instead of flat, allows me to access this hybrid finger and full hand technique that I apply here on the kit. It's very much tied to the style of music that I play, all right? And I think that's a really important feature to emphasize within this, is that it really is the music that has determined not only the setup, but also the way that I access it, okay? And that's gonna be most suitably expressed through the technique and the way that I actually use my hands. So I wanna talk a little bit about today an Arabic rhythm called Malfuf. We've actually talked a little bit about Malfuf on this channel and a few other videos. And it's a great place, it's a great metaphor to use to describe some different orchestration concepts that I wanted to get into today. All right, at its basic, Malfuf is a 2/4 rhythm, okay? All in 16th notes. And it's best described as 3 + 3 + 2, right? Now, I can play this in 100 different ways around this kit, all right? Let's just start off with a couple of those. I can put it all here on the frame drum, both hands on the instrument, just as I was doing. And this has a very darbuka quality to it, right? It sounds a lot like the darbuka. I've got my right hand driving those accents, providing fill-in. Okay. By moving my left hand off to another sound source, let's put it over here on the ketam. I've immediately changed the texture of this groove in a pretty meaningful way. So right there, just with that one change, I've added this additional depth into the groove. Remember, what are we going to be playing with? We're playing with bass potentially, oud potentially, keyboards, guitars, vocalists. Kind of depends if I'm in more of a traditional group, more of a fusion group, right? Sort of depends on the context. That's what's going to be driving my decisions. Where to move my hands and what textures to enhance. Now, I can get this melodic concept moving pretty easily. That's where this mounted frame drum comes in handy. Now, the way that I've got this pitched, I was talking a little bit about this in the previous video, that these two frame drums in my kit are very pitch specific. I was listening today, and this is right around a C sharp. Yeah. It's right around a C sharp there, and that's a minor third above that, right? La la la, right? So that's a nice chord having within this. Now, as soon as I hit that sizzle cymbal and started this pulse on the hi-hat, instantly we know we were going someplace with this rhythm. It just changes the energy immediately. Now, in the bands that I play with, really they can only have one percussionist come. And, you know, I'm much more of a traditional rooted drummer. When I'm playing with traditional instruments, I want to play in that traditional context, which means I just want to play one drum. This has just been one of my main voices for so many years. I show up and I just have the tambourine and I'm the percussion section. And this is the instrument that I use within that traditional context, of course. And it's wonderful. But when you're talking about adding additional instruments, and you're also talking about the size of venues, so maybe to give you a little bit of context, the venues that I'm looking to use this kit on, okay, where these bands that I play with go to play are multi-thousand seat auditoriums, sometimes outdoors, sometimes indoors. It kind of depends where we're touring. But I need to push a lot of volume. It's not going to be adequate to drive the entire band with just a tambourine. It's not going to be adequate to drive the entire band with just a cajon. I've tried, and it doesn't work that well, okay? You need to have some additional instrumentation, and then you need to be smart, okay? Big change just happened. When I moved over here to the djembe, you heard it start to drive. Really, really nice and heavy. And I have now a true pop, like the darbuka. I have a pure slap. I can put the slap on a couple of different places here, but this, that's very easy to access, all right? So if I want to get that driving tone of a slap here within the texture, then my right hand immediately moves over here. All right. Left hand on the ketum. This is a nice combination of sounds. They're very complementary of one another. But the other move that I made was I began to pulse that 2-4 directly down on the cajon. So I want you to listen to something for just a moment. So 3 pretty distinct textures right there. All right. First is I'm just kind of riding that Malfuf between these 2 different sound sources. All right. It's nice. But then I add the cajon with the foot pedal on the first beat of each bar, and I start pulsing the quarter notes over here with my left foot. Already feel that the direction has changed. As soon as you start putting pulse, quarter note pulse, you can feel yourself start to move in conjunction with that pulse. So that's quite handy to put in there, especially if you're the only guy playing. You know, I'm glad that we have hi-hat technology. It's pretty nice. But then the next move that I made, now I'm putting the pulse in both my feet in unison. That's where you start to get this baby starting to drive. Okay? And for a lot of the artists that I play with, this is exactly the feature that they need to hear from me. They need to hear a really good, clean bass tone driving on that. However, that is not a feature of how Malfuf works. That's not Malfuf. So it's kind of this interesting juxtaposition. If you're a purist, I'm sorry, I have to adjust the microphone down here, guys. If you're really a purist, and you're going to get hung up on, no, Malfuf is only this. Okay. You're going to end up having to hire more percussionists for the band because you're going to have to get additional depth to drive enough, to push enough air from these drums and from those speakers to fill a multi-thousand seat auditorium. So these are some of the ways, some of the concepts that I've developed with these different voices via orchestration to create dynamic motion within the groove, okay? So that has a shape to it, it has an arc to it, it has a direction, we know where we're going. All right. And so these are some of the ideas that I use, guys. I try to inventory what these different textures are and how I can access them, okay? And you know, with each of these different surfaces, there's a ton of different colors that you can produce depending on the technique that you employ. There's always room to add additional implements. You can pull out a shaker brush or any brush type implement and start changing around the timbre. That's very different from your hand, all right? Access that. It is a tool there for you to use at your disposal, okay? That's how it works, guys. You need to take inventory of the textures that you've got, and then you need to start in your practice room figuring out ways to orchestrate these different grooves. I think that's a good place to stop for today. So as always, thank you guys for stopping by. If you haven't already, please subscribe, share the video, help us grow this channel. Let's try to get some of this knowledge out to drummers all over the world. I hope that you appreciate the content. I hope you've enjoyed it, enjoyed playing along a little bit. As always, guys, till next time, happy drumming.
If you liked this video and want to see more like it, please hit the subscribe button. Visit my website for more information on tours, upcoming performances, and updates on all my projects. Thanks so much, and don't forget to share this video.